Hi there. Today I want to talk about a book by a very good friend of mine, Dave Spaulding. I first met Dave at an ASLET training conference. That's the American Society of Law Enforcement Trainers. And there was a group of us who who became friends and used to meet regularly at different ASLET events. And in time, Dave hosted me in Dayton, Ohio, where he was based with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and I presented several courses there. Later on, Dave started writing magazine articles in some of the shooting magazines, and unlike quite a few of the gun writers, Dave could actually shoot, and his opinions were certainly to be taken seriously. At the time, he was working as a sergeant in charge of range training for the Sheriff's Department, but they also were the kind of regional training centre, and he trained personnel from a lot of the surrounding police and sheriff's departments in the area. And then later on, he was promoted to lieutenant, and he was in charge of a narcotics multi-agency task force before retiring, leaving the police, and he became a commercial instructor, working sometimes for different training organisations or sponsored by firearms companies, but basically working for himself, and he became quite a renowned figure in the training field. So Dave wrote a couple of books. First one, Defensive Living with Ed Lovett, which I will talk about at some stage. But the one I want to talk about today is this one, Handgun Combatives. Great title for a book. The book covers quite a few very relevant areas. For example, he covers mindset. He interviews Marcus Wynn about the neural-based aspects, and goes into quite a bit of detail on that. And much of the material there is really solid gold. Great stuff. Another chapter concerns stopping power, which sometimes is regarded as a bit of a hot topic. People have very differing ideas on it. Dave kind of weighed everything up. He also did a few of his own experiments, and he really presents a pretty common sense approach to stopping power. And over the years, since the book has been written, a lot of what he says has proved to have been true and reliable. There's quite a bit of material on technique. Now, Dave trained with a lot of the top instructors in the United States, firearms instructors and also combatives instructors in various organizations. And what he's done is what a lot of really intelligent people do, is learn from them all and take the kind of useful material from them all and make it into a cohesive program that he can present. The material that Dave presents in the book, and I guess is his program for his training in the consulting world, is what I best again use the term common sense. He has a very common sense approach, and the material is aimed at the ordinary police officer or the ordinary citizen, not somebody who is on a special team with a very enhanced training budget, unlimited ammo, etc. It's got to be within the grasp of what realistically people can afford in terms of time and resources. So that's really what the book's based on. Lots of photographs to illustrate the techniques. Another good section is on holsters. Dave was a bit of a specialist in the holster field. He's worked with a lot of the top designers, and at one stage he produced his own holster, which he called a CQC holster, which was a very really interesting design for covert carriage. Nice holster he made. The book is good value for money. It's paperback, and it was published in 2004 as far as I remember, but the material is still just as valid today. And Dave's one of the most respected instructors, a guy whose opinion I value very highly. I value him as a friend as well, and his book is certainly well worth your time and effort to put in your library.